Carol, and this is Kaylee. We are mother and daughter mediums, and we like to sit down and have real life conversations that help you feel more connected to yourself, your loved ones, and spirit.
So today we wanted to sit down, and I was thinking we should talk about just thinking back to like the beginning of our journey with this work and how we built our own intuition and our connection to the spirit world, to our loved ones, and just share some of like the tools that helped us connect to ourselves, connect to spirit, build our intuition. Because I feel like even if you don't want to give readings for a living or any of that stuff, your intuition is something, first of all, I believe we all have. And I feel like it's something that is a very helpful tool in your everyday life. And if we can learn how to understand it, understand that gut feeling, what it's trying to tell us, and we can listen to it, it'll help guide us to living a life that I feel like is more aligned, like connected to our soul's purpose, our soul's journey, things like that. So,
So for me, my beginning, I always go back to Wayne Dyer. And as soon as you were saying that, he popped in my head. And if you haven't seen it yet, it's on YouTube. Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life. And I feel like that was my beginning journey, and it was all about my thoughts. So I feel like getting to know yourself, what you think, why you think what you think. And I always use this one example. What I noticed about myself, when you start to observe yourself, just your own thoughts, your own energy, and that's what we're talking about. I used to always say, like, oh, what is wrong with me? And I remember I was in the car this particular time I said it, and I just dropped the kids off at school, and I was pulling up, and I forgot something. And I said, oh, what is wrong with me? And right away I caught that, and I was like, oh my God, like I already said that like earlier today. So I noticed it was a pattern that I would say to myself, what is wrong with me? So in that moment, I'm like, okay, what is right with me? And I was like, you're a good mom. You got up and took your kids to school. So I started doing that in the beginning of it. And it's all part of like retraining your brain or what you say to yourself. So to this day, I've never said what's wrong with me again, but I really practice it like for probably a year.
Yeah.
So that's just one example of a thought that I had, but I would do it with other thoughts too as well.
And I feel like people don't realize, because it is something that I have learned throughout this journey, is how my connection to my intuition or to spirit world is like a direct mirror to my relationship with myself. Yeah. And so you can think like, no, I want to learn how to read cards or tell the future or connect to spirit. Like, why do I need to know what I'm thinking or watch my thoughts? How does that relate at all? But it really is, because when you can step into that observer role with yourself and you notice these patterns and why you do the things that you do, I feel like it just teaches yourself, like maybe your higher self, your soul, your energy, when you do that, when you check in with yourself and your thoughts and you observe, it shows yourself, it teaches you that there's a level of importance here, and it helps you to just be guided like differently, because then you can understand why, or maybe you can understand when you're doing things out of maybe fear, out of worry, maybe when you're forcing things to happen, and when something doesn't feel in alignment, like that's your intuition. But if you don't slow down enough to check in and to even listen to it, like, then how would you ever
Observe
hear it?
exactly. Like. And that's been a topic this theme or a theme this week with clients. A lot of it is so unconscious that, and it's like family patterns or what they were told when they were little, and that they still like connecting to it as an adult, like they're still holding on to that belief or that teaching that was taught to them or told to them about them, even though they've come so far and they don't resonate with it, but they keep going back to it. So it's all connected to that. That's why, yes, exactly. And I would always tell you and all my good friends that are mediums, I would always tell them, I'm like, a good medium is someone who shows up fully present in their life, has experiences, makes mistakes, like,
Yeah.
and is an observer. Like, that's a medium. It's you just gotta, like, spend time with yourself.
No, really. Because, and we talk about this all the time, like, this is the human life, the human experience. We're supposed to be unconscious. We're supposed to, have all of these parts of ourselves. But when you can find the time to step into that observer role and not be in it so much, like, that's when the learning happens.
And observe with no judgment. That's
Right.
like the key, because there were moments when I would observe and be like, oh my God, why did it,
Yeah.
it would be more of a negative. But when you're an observer with no judgment and just like be curious about yourself, like, oh, why did I do that? Or why did I think that?
Right.
Where did that come from?
If the intention is always to understand,
Yeah.
and I feel like if you like sitting at home listening to this, and like we could do it now, if we just like sit and try to feel into the intention to understand yourself, or understand this part of yourself, or to fix this part of yourself, or to do better, or to do right, or like whatever it is, if you just like, you can take anything, I feel like, and just slow down and ask, like, how does this feel in my body? Like, and I feel like you learn so much, and that is like the start of building your intuition. It's just asking yourself, because the more you do it, the more you'll learn, oh, this is my yes, this is how I know this feels right, or no, that doesn't feel right. Maybe you feel a tightness in your shoulders when something doesn't resonate with you, or your jaw locks, or you feel weird in your stomach, or maybe there's no explanation, you just have a deep knowing, like, that this isn't for me, or this is for me, but you can't ever figure that out if you don't ask. And it's in asking without the judgment that helps the clear answer, which again, like, that judgment aspect, I feel like really is so important, because if you're trying to build this connection with yourself, judgment and like this harshness can create like disconnection, because it's fueled around shame, disapproval.
But noticing the judgment and the harshness is an important tool too, because you go into that like, oh, why did I jump to that with myself right away, and then
and when you get curious, it allows the energy to stay open, and it allows things to like opportunities for you to connect, like to build this connection with yourself. Whereas energetically, I feel like with judgment, you can feel it's like the energy of disconnection. I don't know, maybe I sound crazy on camera, but it just comes from like all of these little moments of checking in with yourself, slowing down, tuning in. And if you start to do this, if you can do it right now at home, or you start to do it maybe this week, I feel like you'll start to understand what I'm talking about, like the feeling of opened or closed, or disconnected or connected, just by starting to simply get curious and ask questions.
And I think where spirit world comes in is, we talk about it all the time. Spirit never not shows up. Spirit's here all the time. And we have grown to believe spirit world resides right here with us. So, so where they come in is they always want to help us and guide us and be part of this partnership of healing and growing and evolving, where I feel like it happens kind of quick, because once we're having these moments where we're like, okay, we want to get curious or be more aware, I want to have more connection to myself, spirit world's like, yes, like, let's do it. And then so that's where it kind of coincides, or amplifies because of that.
Definitely. I feel like it happens simultaneously, because the way I have explained a mediumship connection is not like an ability, but it's a sensitivity to the spirit world around us. Because like you said, I believe the spirit world is happening simultaneously all around us, just on a different dimension, on a different frequency, which is why we can't see it with the 3D eye, because all of it is just a sensitivity. So with your intuition, when you're trying to build it and you're checking in with yourself, or you're being an observer and you're learning these things about yourself and staying open, you're becoming sensitive to these new feelings. And that's the same with mediumship, how it shows up. It's not an ability that only some people have. I feel like it's learning to become sensitive to also spirit, to the language of spirit. And now we've taken a bunch of different classes and development courses and things like that to learn how to maybe interpret the things that spirit is showing us or giving us, the signs from them, and to understand it. But which we can definitely touch on that too, like how to understand the signs from spirit world. But in order to initially start building it, I think you'll notice if you're wanting to build your intuition, you might start getting more signs from your loved ones on the other side, or maybe your higher self or spirit guides if you connect to them. But it all comes from, being sensitive. And I think you said something earlier about the spirit world and how they want to show up for us. Like when we're tuning in, like they're going to be there or they're going to show up. And I was just thinking about how, that's something I still need to learn to let in, because I have this belief
in our
personal life,
yes, because that we, as we're both of us are, I guess do that, but it's always harder to see your own blocks and your own shadows and your own, but we are catching it sooner now. We're like, oh wait, why don't we let spirit help us with that? But it's so crazy because we're so used to doing it in one area of our life that we're still learning. So taking it back to, because we started this podcast talk about connecting to your own intuition and stuff, and even if you're not a medium or don't sit down with people, how it benefits just living this life that we're all, searching. And so I was thinking, like, what would you say, like, how building that within yourself can help in your everyday life?
Well, that's what I mean. So, like, I feel like we definitely do this work to serve spirit and to help others. But I think the biggest blessing is how much having that connection to myself and knowing what my intuition is and knowing how to be sensitive to energy has helped guide me in my everyday life, whether it's to make decisions that feel in alignment with what I'm wanting, or whether it's to know, like, when to speak my truth or when not to speak my truth, like all of these things. It's so easy, and definitely with like the way the world is shaped, to get stuck going through the motions of life. And I feel like if you can get in touch with yourself and with your intuition, and you start checking in with yourself, like it's the way to explain it is like disconnection versus connection. Like you just feel so much more connected to yourself. I feel like I've heard this before. Like people say like they're living a life that doesn't feel like theirs because they're just doing the things that they told they're supposed to do throughout life. And
and I think we both agree too that even both of our journeys starting into the mediumship, it was more about ourselves.
For sure.
Healing. It was self-healing. It was trying to so from the get-go, that's where we both started too, was we wanted to feel that connection to ourselves. We wanted to understand why things are showing up the way they are, what's our part, what's, all the stuff. So, and we've continued to do that to this day, like we still, so even taking mediumship out of it, just how important it is.
And I was just thinking, well, what if someone doesn't want to figure out themselves, but maybe they just want to learn how to read cards or read intuition? And I was like, well, you could definitely try, but then I feel like what happens in that way is like you can, maybe you are thinking something is your intuition, but you're not realizing it's something that you're projecting that's stemming from fear or worry or a past hurt or a past wound. So that's why I feel like it goes hand in hand, is you'll notice like what's your stuff and what stuff like from the past wounds, triggers, versus how that's different from what's happening in front of you, like what's coming up for you, the choice you have to make, what you're feeling, like whatever it is. So yeah, I don't know. It's definitely all hand in hand, and that is what I feel like both of us have seen helped naturally grow our intuition.
And back to your question that you just said, like, what if someone doesn't want to? And that, to me, I think, who wouldn't want to be more connected to themselves? Like who, but it stems from Like,
well, I just meant in a way, right? Because I'm just thinking about myself. Like people are busy. They have their agendas. They have their life. And so if I like have a goal and I'm just wanting to get it done, I'm just wanting to check it off my list to figure it out. They might want to just jump to like, no, I just want to learn how to read this oracle card or connect to spirit. And it's like you can try to jump, but if you're wanting it, I feel like just to be more
kind of
authentic.
like what we just said earlier, you could jump like that and it'll work and you could get so far, but nobody, I think that there's a natural order of things. And we were talking about earlier, what were we talking about? Just like if you don't take time for your health, you're taking time for your sickness. It's the same kind of thing. It's like we can do the act or the job, but especially in this line of work, there's steps that go hand in hand, like what you were saying, that
and I feel like it all comes down to, that's what I mean. So like if you're listening to this episode either with the intention to connect to yourself and understand yourself and naturally build your intuition, or B, because you actually want to do this for a living, no matter what route you take, I feel like it's always going to bring you back to like just trying to understand and connect with yourself on a deeper level. So that being said, is there any, maybe we could just think of like some exercises and things that we did in the very beginning that helped us get to that space, because sometimes it can be as simple as checking in with yourself, slowing down and tuning into how you feel, but I feel like there's also a lot of other tools that can help you understand deeper your intuition and spirit.
Yeah, for sure. Meditation. I always say that. I know there's a lot of mixed reviews on meditation. People hate it, people love it, people don't have time for it. And I always tell people consistency is key. Like, I'm going to meditate 5 days a week, and it doesn't have to be that long. It could be for 10 minutes, but what's important is the same time. Try to make it like a date with yourself, just like you would brush your teeth or go to work at a certain time. Fit that in your schedule, and I honestly believe 100% your life will change by adding meditation in, for change for the better. Your life will be just brighter, like you will be clearer, things
And so I never, like, I was just thinking, because I was trying to think if I ever really had a meditation practice, and I always thought I didn't, but then I remembered, no, because I always would say I was always in a hurry, never had time, but I always did it before, like, that's how I fell asleep at night, is I would play meditation music, I would breathe or listen to a guided meditation, like I would do these different guided meditation journeys. So even if you're very busy and you feel like you don't have time, do it the 10-15 minutes before you fall asleep, because you're going to be laying there with your eyes closed anyways.
Exactly.
Like, that's how I always found the time.
And that's the other thing that I think I've heard over the years, like people thinking they're not doing it because they're doing something like that, or they're, well, I went for a walk and I usually, listen to my music and just breathe on the walk. I'm like, that's meditating. That's meditating. So that's what we mean by meditation, whatever your practice would be. But the key again is consistency, and
everything is intention. So whether you're meditating or whether your meditation is a walk or a bike ride or a cleaning, if your intention is to just take a moment to tune in with yourself, like that's where you start feeling things or tuning into things, like your intuition or understanding yourself or what these things mean. Like, so whatever you're doing, however you meditate, however you get yourself to slow down, whether it's 5 minutes in bed at night or walking, cleaning, like if your intention is to stay open, stay curious, observe, like think about the last few hours of the day, think about the last week, how did you act, what were the thoughts that you've been having, how are you feeling? If you can come to the table with the intention of observing and getting curious about yourself, I think all of those things help to definitely build your intuition. And the meditation or the walking or however you do that, I feel like helps strengthen that intention and give you, like, it creates space for it to happen, I guess.
Yep. Another thing, I was thinking of so many, and you can do them all. You can do them interchangeably. Like there's so much you can do. Another big one is not looking at your phone a half hour before bed. Like we think that who can't do a half hour before
Right.
bed because we're laying in bed, and it just like creates exactly what
Space.
you said, so much space. And one that I've been doing recently, because I haven't set aside time to be consistent with my meditation as of yet. So something, because I change up stuff all the time. So one I've been doing recently is breathing, just breathing. That's the easiest one. Your breath is with you all the time. And in my car at a stoplight, on my way to work, like, so I just take moments of like 4 box breaths and really just to regulate my nervous system and come back to myself. So that's a super easy one that if you just get in the habit of doing that really helps too.
Yeah, and as you were talking, I was just thinking, like, all of these little things, it is, we both said it, these things help us to create space. And I feel like in this world of busyness and wanting to stay busy, or accessibility, you know, you have your phone, you can always have your phone with you. So yeah, why would I just lay in bed, or when I can scroll to fall asleep, or, you know, like our minds are always going. And like I think you would say this to me, like you're always thinking a thought, so you can choose if you like want it to be like a good thought or a positive thought or a negative thought, or like just becoming aware of it. Like when you start to become conscious of these things, that's when you start to have a choice. And so I was just all of this was going through my head as you were talking. So creating space allows these things to happen. And I was thinking, well, why don't people like to have that space there? Like, why don't people like to slow down or tune in with themselves? And I feel like that can come from the uncomfortability of it, because with this work and tuning and learning to build your intuition or connect with yourself, like there's a lot of things that you uncover about yourself, the good, the bad, the ugly type of thing, you know? And so there's going to be uncomfortable moments, and maybe that's what people try to avoid.
Maybe, but I also, as you're talking,
Yeah.
was just thinking, like, if you really think about it, the average person, which
Yeah.
they're so busy.
Yeah.
Their lives are packed from the minute they wake up
Yeah.
until they go to bed.
Yeah.
Like, I just look at my own family and different, you know. So back to creating space, like, so I don't even know if they're even there yet. They don't even know it's uncomfortable yet, because
Right.
they have already packed it. And that a lot has to do with society, the phones in our
Right.
hands, like everything that
So
that's in our environment. And so it's literally having to have choice and saying, I'm going to just see how this goes. I want to create a little space for myself for a half hour a day or something like that.
Yeah.
And however you create it,
and even it's like, it's not even like that it has to be a half hour a day. It could be just checking in with yourself a minute in the morning, a minute at night, or a minute in the middle of the day while you're driving to or from work. Like just seeing, how have I been feeling? What am I needing? Is there anything that's happening that doesn't feel right now? Is there anything I feel the need to say? That observer role, but you can't think those things or tune in if you're not creating the space or having the intention to do so.
Yes, and because reality, back to what I was saying about people's lives are busy, there are something, like you're already in your life and you already have these commitments and stuff. So
Right.
it's not like you can, okay, well, you know, I hear a lot of people tell me like, okay, they say we create our day and like we have control over it, but how, you know, I have to do this and my kids have this and I have to do that. And all that is true. And that's why breath at a stop sign, and like what you were saying with the intention, it start adding those things in, being the observer, watching your thoughts.
Yep.
And then you'll end up craving more time, and you'll end up making that time, and you'll naturally not want to be on your phone because you only have so much time for you now that you're going to do this or you're going to. So I think it's a process. So
Definitely.
be gentle with yourself and really start small. I think that being an observer, Wayne Dyer, change your thoughts, change your life. Like just start noticing how you show up in the world, how you show up with different people, just everything.
And it almost like sounds too simple, but I feel like that's all there really is to it with the intuition. And like we said, mediumship wise, connecting to your loved ones on the other side will come, it'll happen naturally because you'll already have built this sensitivity, this understanding to how things feel to you, or what feels right, what doesn't feel right, and more things will come naturally. And then that's your own journey with spirit, and however spirit takes you on, you know, on that road, whether for yourself or to do it for a living, like whoever knows. But
because mediumship itself, in my opinion, just like you, like I feel like we all have this sensitivity. It's just, do you want to tune into it? But I feel like it will complement any career, any job that you're in, whether you're a doctor, whether you're a teller at the bank, or, you know, a cashier, like the gift of, or the ability, you said it wasn't, the sensitivity of mediumship will help you in your everyday life, like, you know, like
because
any job. So it's not like we always say, like, it's not just for people who want to do this work. It's
right. And it's everyone. Because of the connection that it brings to yourself, to others.
And that's what you bring to others. Yep.
Yeah. So that's what it all goes back to, which we said at the very beginning. So maybe we didn't have to spend 30 minutes saying this, but your connection to yourself is a direct mirror of your connection to your higher self, your intuition, the spirit world. So let yourself tune in, let yourself feel uncomfortable, get curious, stay open, and I think you'll start to notice.
And have fun.
Yeah, and I think you'll start to notice a lot of those things will happen more naturally.